This is your Module 4 overview. In this chapter, we will be focusing on statistics, which I know is everyone's favorite topic. Statistics are a required course that you take before this one, but it seems that sometimes we forget some of those skills. So we're not going super deep into stats in this course, because you would have taken it previously, but I do want you to be aware of when things are statistically significant, as those are the results that we need to be focusing on, and when things are not statistically significant. There is no discussion board post this week because we do have a little bit of a larger assignment with the research paper check-in number 1, so we'll talk through that in just a second here. All right, so all your normal learning materials, I would like to focus on this quality criteria checklist. So for your research check-in number 1 and upcoming number 2, you're going to use this checklist to determine if the research articles that you found so far are good articles. We don't just want to land on the first article that we come to, assume that it's good, and then start finding more articles, because not all research is created equal. So this quality criteria checklist was created by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics to really determine if an article is the best that it can be. So this particular checklist is for primary research, which again, all of your articles should be. Remember, secondary research is reviews, systematic reviews, meta-analyses. We're not using any of those. We are using experimental research, randomized control, cohort, cross-sectional, singular, primary research articles. So you'll go through each of these questions, and the ultimate answer is yes. If we start answering no on some of these, and then by the end we have, let's see how many no's. So if we answered no more than 6 times, then we should not be using the article. So just keep that in mind. So let's see. So make sure that the research question was clearly stated. Was the selection of studies subjects free from bias? So just think about the way that they were recruited. Were the study groups comparable? Those are usually okay. Was the method of handling withdrawals described? Typically it is, but if you don't see that, then that would be a no. The question that I typically see no's to is, was blinding used? So sometimes if it's not double blinded, meaning that the clinicians and the subjects are not knowing what's going on, then you would answer no to that question. And many studies do not use blinding. It's definitely takes some time to get that all set up. Were intervention, exposing factors, procedures described in detail. So you should be able to clearly see what they did for their intervention. So if they put them on a ketogenic diet, they should explain that in great detail. They should also describe their outcomes. Number 7, there should be statistical analysis included. The other one that you'll sometimes see is this bias part. So sometimes, studies are often funded by large agencies. So maybe like Coca-Cola might fund a study on water because they also oversee some water companies. And if the study found that hydration was a positive finding, we could say that there was some funding bias in that. So just be careful, look at those things, review each of your articles accordingly, and then you're going to report back on those findings in research check-in number 1. So stay tuned for that. Also, just a reminder on AMA citation guidelines, because you're going to be reporting on all of your citations for research check-in number 1. I do include some information on summarizing and then quoting, summarizing, and paraphrasing. So in your final presentation, so even though you're not writing a full out paper, sometimes when students put together slides, which is what you'll be doing for your final presentation, sometimes it's a lot of cutting and pasting from the article, which is not what we want to do. Everything should always be in your own words. What I find useful is once I read an article, maybe put it to the side and then try to think in your head to see if you could put that article into your own words without having it in front of you. That's kind of a good test to see if you actually understand it or not. For the quiz, you're going to be finding this research article. Note that it's in AMA citation style, so just as a nice reminder, authors' names always first. Remember that in AMA style, the publication year goes after the journal title towards the end. There's another popular citation style where the date goes right after the author names, and that is not what we are doing in this class. So AMA is always author, last name, first initial, then the title of the article, then the title of the journal in italics, then the publication year, the volume, and the page range. So note that it goes year, semicolon, volume, colon, page range. And then the DOI for those electronic articles, which is probably most of your articles. So then we have the normal videos, a few on statistics, then your normal quiz. Again, find that article first before you start your quiz. Then the research paper check-in number 1. So we're going to review this quickly. Let's go into preview mode. So as stated before, you're going to find your 6 articles that you think will be the ones that you want before you start this assignment. Then you're going to run each of them through the quality criteria checklist. So as we discussed previously, I shouldn't just see everything said yes, everything was good. Typically articles will have some no's, so I want to see what you answered no to and the exact question number that you said no to. So that one is worth 6 points, 1 point for each article. Then research question number 2, you'll put in your research question. And again, that's just to remind me. So you'll go back to your discussion board posts because you would have put your research question into those. Then you provide the citation for each of your 6 articles. So this is your full citation. There are citation managers out there like EndNote, Mendeley, Zotero. There's a few different ones, and you are free to use a reference manager kind of creator. There's also tools online where you can like cut and paste the article title, and then it'll create the citation for you, and you note what style you want it in. But even with those, still check their work closely because that might be a little bit different than what we want. Those are worth 3 points a piece though, so really put some time into your citations because 18 points is a nice little chunk to just put your citations together. Then for the remaining questions, you're actually going to upload your full text PDF article that matches up to each of your citations. So you'll have citation number 1, and then you'll have that full text article that matches up with that. This is for me to actually see each of your articles, make sure that they're primary, and make sure that they are actually helping you answer your research question. If they don't do that, then I'm not going to give points on this. If it's not a full text article and it's just an abstract, I'm not going to give points on this. If it's just a link to an article, I'm not going to give points for that. So you really need to get the full text PDF. I'm gonna go through how to do that if you're not sure. And for this, it's really just so I can make sure that you're actually looking at the full text article and not just reading the abstract that's in PubMed. So we're just gonna go down to PubMed, go to your advanced tool. We're just gonna play with, let's say, vegetarian, and let's just look at weight, just keep it simple. Then we're gonna do our filters on the side. And when you see clinical trial, that's just like an experimental trial. So when you think about on the pyramid where that falls, it's going to be right below an experimental, or right below a randomized control article. Let's get those, take off reviews. We don't want those. Show, click them off so you get your little blue check mark next to each one. Remember that you do not click anything for full text because ASU already gives you full text. We want the research within the past 10 years. And I would prefer that it was in humans just to get a little bit higher up on the pyramid. Okay, so then we're gonna see if any of these look good. Low calorie vegetarian versus Mediterranean. That one's not too bad. Effects of vegetarian. Dietary adherence. This one's a nice one. This one's interesting for those doing the vegetarian diet because it does look at vegan, vegetarian, pesco, semi. All right, so then I'm going to click over here. I find that clicking on anything but the Get It at ASU takes me closer to the full text. So I would encourage you to click on whatever other icon there is besides that Get It at ASU, because then it kind of takes you straight to this. Do not just give me the web address from this. You still need to keep going. So then you're going to click on Download PDF, download this article. This looks a little bit different on every website that you go to. So if you have any questions, let me know. I have a Mac. So on a Mac, you go up to File, Export as a PDF. Then I'm just going to title it something that makes sense to me. Then I'm going to put it on my desktop so I can find it again, hit save, then go back to my assignment. Then I can choose a file, go to my desktop, I would double click that, and that would upload my article. I'm in preview mode now, so it's not going to work for me, but that would be your process for each of those PDFs. Then at the very bottom, there is reference to a table that you're going to be filling out for the next module. So you can go up back to the instructions and it references back to that table. So you can download that and start looking at that for the following week. And that is it for this week.